Isabella Guzman's story. Sweet but psycho girl, viral on TikTok.
Has granted with special powers.
Videos with interesting stories.
Sikorsky S-70
Videos with thrilling facts.
coronavirus.
And entertaining videos. This is MIL Teacher Sir Arjay, where you can get your daily dose of reliable information.
An 18-year-old teenager stabbed her mother 151 times and she gets out of it? How did she do this? Recently, an old video posted in 2013 has resurfaced on social media and became viral again. The video is of a sweet-looking girl smiling in a court while wearing an orange prison jumpsuit with Ava Max's famous song Sweet But Psycho dubbed over it. Isabella Guzman, an 18-year-old citizen of Colorado, USA, smiled briefly at the beginning of hearing as she listened to her attorney and the judge. Who is Isabella Guzman? How did she get out of prison sentence despite stabbing her mother 151 times? The teen, who goes by the nickname Isa, looks like a beauty queen or model in photos on her Facebook page. Her page has a photo of a watermelon sliced with the word love carved into it. There's also a photo of her wearing a Hello Kitty t-shirt and jeans, standing in front of a rock band set from a singing competition. Yunmi, Isabella's mother, out of love for her daughter, named their family business Bella's Portrait Studio at the town center at Aurora, and often worked long 12 hours a day, which Isabella sometimes worked for her. Melanie Guzman, Isabella's aunt, sees Isabella as a sweet and charming teenager. She sometimes sees her yelling, screaming, storming off and locking herself in her room, but she considers it as part of a typical teenager's life. However, everything's changed when her mother married her second husband. Isabella and her mother often fought, and as time goes by, she is becoming more threatening and disrespectful towards her mother. According to her biological father, Robert Guzman, his daughter and his ex-wife were getting into fights all the time. Earlier that day, as usual, Isabella and her mother had their fight and later spit on her mother's face. Out of frustration, Isabella sent an email to her mother saying, "You will pay." When she got the email, Yunmi called the Aurora police and asked them to come to her house because she was so scared. The police came to comply Yunmi's request and warned Isabella that her mom could kick her out for her behavior. Robert also had a talk with her daughter in their backyard about the respect that people should have for their parents and tried to let her know that she should be obedient to her parents, not to be rebellious, that she should try to listen more and everything will go fine. The events before seemed to calm her down and went to her room. Yunmi Hoy came home from work about 9:30 p.m. with her dinner bought from a fast food chain and then went to take a shower. Ryan Hoy, Isabella's stepfather, gave Isabella's dinner, where at that time was in her room. While Ryan was eating his dinner downstairs, he heard thumping upstairs and his wife calling his name. Alarmed by the strange noise, Ryan rushed upstairs towards the shower and tried to push his way through the slightly closed bathroom door. While pushing the door, Ryan caught a glimpse of Isabella pushing the door shut with her back and locked it. Ryan saw blood seeping from under the bathroom door. Immediately, he went downstairs to call the police. The stepfather rushed back to the bathroom with 911 still on the phone and heard his wife say Jehovah. Then the bathroom door opened and Isabella walked out, holding a knife downward in her right hand. Isabella never said a word and stared straight ahead as she walked past him and went downstairs. Shocked by what he saw, Ryan told 911 that Isabella left wearing a pink sports bra and turquoise shirts, taking the knife with her. Ryan looked into the bathroom door and saw the naked body of his wife covered in blood on the floor. Her throat had been slashed. He told police on the phone and a baseball bat was lying under her body. Following the 911 dispatcher's instructions, Ryan Hoy tried to open his wife's airway and perform CPR. But he later told police his wife's eyes were staring blankly and said she was already dead. Yunmi was pronounced dead at the scene. When the officers arrived on the scene, they found Yunmi lying naked on the bathroom door, covered in blood next to a baseball bat. Police report found that she had suffered 31 stabs to the face and 48 stab wounds to the neck. However, further autopsy revealed that there were a total of 151 stab wounds. After Isabella killed her mother, she had time to wash her hair and change in the women's bathroom at a convenience store near their home called H-Mart. While at the mini market, Isabella made up a story in which she told the staff that she had just been raped and told them not to report her to the police. He also refused to be taken to his house because he feared his father would abuse him. At 11:30 a.m., while Isabella, whose blood from her body not totally cleaned up, is sleeping in a car, someone saw her. Then, that person called 911, reporting a body inside a car in the parking garage on South Parker Road. Arriving officers found the car, but no one was inside. According to Frank Fania, Aurora police spokesman, they did find items in the car that were believed to be related to the Yunmi's homicide case. Police called in undercover officers to help search the garage, and additional items were found that were believed to be involved in the homicide as well. At 2 p.m., a police K-9 team joined the search. At one point, Isabella was seen by officers walking out of the garage. An undercover man dressed like a motorcycle gang member walking into the parking garage as a young woman walks out in the parking lot. The first undercover officer followed the woman and was soon joined by two other plainclothes officers as they surrounded the young woman, who was carrying a plastic shopping bag. Suddenly, all three officers pulled guns and the woman sat down next to a bush on a raised parking lot median. As they arrested her, she said her name was Samantha Gonzalez from Ohio, but the officers did not believe her alibi because they already knew her.
19-year-old accused of stabbing her mother in the neck and the face more than 150 times, and now this young woman, Isabella Guzman.
Isabella, who was arrested on Thursday after a 16-hour manhunt, appeared on August 30 before Arapahoe County Judge Stephen F. Collins, who ordered her to remain jailed without bond on suspicion of first-degree murder. Isabella Guzman smiled briefly at the beginning of hearing as she listened to her attorney and the judge. The judge informed her she will be facing 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of crime of violence, a sentence-enhancing charge. Wearing an orange jumpsuit and shackles on her wrists and legs, Guzman listened intently as the judge started reading the complaint against her. Toward the end of her hearing, Guzman's eyes began tearing up, and she looked into the camera and pointed to her eyes as if to draw attention to that fact. She was also making a face at the camera. Isabella is accused of killing her mother on August 28 and is found guilty. Despite brutally stabbing her mother to death, she was found not guilty due to the reason of insanity. The judge accepted her insanity plea after test results had shown that she was indeed suffering from a mental illness called paranoid schizophrenia. The decision was taken after an appeal stating that Isabella had a mental disorder was received by the court in December 2013. After being found not guilty, the court then sent Isabella to the psychiatric hospital in Pueblo, Colorado. Though proven not guilty because of insanity, residents see the case as a murder and she was guilty of it. District Attorney George Brosler admitted that the public tends to see this case as a case of sadistic murder. He himself admitted that this was the first time he had seen someone stabbed that much. According to the district attorney, but our legal system is a system that is not only laden with punishment or imprisonment, but also tied to justice, and you have to look at this component, namely mental health. According to the doctor who treated her, Dr. Richard Pounds, Isabella was diagnosed with schizophrenic paranoia. Dr. Pounds described her as she often stares into the vacuum, then talks to someone who is not visible, and he laughs to herself.
State doctor told the court that Guzman, suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, that she hallucinates, stares into space, and has conversations with people who aren't there. The district attorney says he asked the court to find her not guilty by reason of insanity to avoid a trial.
He then later found out that Isabella sees her mother as a devil.
If you like this video, please click subscribe button below and we have more videos for you. Thank you.